In this video, we will go over the roof framing for our 850 square foot 2-bedroom house. And before we get started, I just want to point out, if you need more information on this, you want me to go through slower, provide you with more details, I'd be glad to. And just let me know in the comment area. Even if I get one person who wants to see it, I'll put it on one of my other channels and then put a link there so you can go to it. So let's go ahead and get started with the upper view here. I want to point out that we are going to be laying out the trusses. This is not a conventionally framed roof. We're going to be laying out the trusses 2 foot on center. And they're not always going to provide us with backing for the ceiling drywall. So we will have to put that in, and I'll provide you with some of that here as we go on. But just kind of wanted to point out, you can see that this wall right here, if we were going to drywall the ceiling in the kitchen or the closet, we wouldn't have any backing in the corner. So that's going to have to be attached to the trusses. So here we have our gable truss with the notches for our outlookers for the fascia board. And you'll see that here in a little bit. The blocks for the trusses. A better view of the gable end here. And, you know, if you need a gable vent, you want to have it centered in here, let the truss manufacturing company know. And they can always center it in here for you. Or give you a couple of boards spaced out accordingly. Our ridge blocks. Another row. Look at those straight blocks and our straight fascia cuts there. Looks nice. And here's what I was talking about with the backing here. You can see that the wall, here's the bathroom. The wall here doesn't have any backing in for the ceiling. So bam, there it is. See how fast that is? And so here we have our blocking, and here we have some 2x4s. The truss manufacturer might want you to install support boards. These would be boards that would space out the trusses equally and prevent the bottoms from moving from one way or another. And that's going to help with your insulation too. And if you come across something to where you can use those boards to hold up or support the ceiling backing here, then use them. Definitely recommend using them. These backing boards will usually toe-nail into the wall framing and the wall framing plates. And then, of course, they will run the distance wherever they need to be. And this is usually done, this kind of doesn't seem like this would work, but the backing can usually be supported by simply nailing down from the blocks into the backing. And the blocks here, you need to make sure that they are floating with the trusses. You're going to be using truss clips or truss brackets here, hardware. And this will allow the truss to move up and down. Your backing also needs to be able to move up and down. It will float with the roof. You're not going to attach your ceiling backing to the wall framing. It needs to be attached to the engineered roof truss. And here is a truss clip. And usually I have a couple of nails going into the 1x4. Remember, we have a 1x4 top plate. And you'll put a nail in here so that when the truss, for example, when you load the roof with your roofing materials, tile, composition shingles, it could actually force the truss to go down a little bit, and then the nail here will allow that to happen. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the space here, give you an idea of what we're dealing with. The outside framing plates are going to have 2 2x4s for the top plates, one on the bottom, one on the top. The interior wall framing plates that run perpendicular to the roof trusses will have 1x4 plates, allowing them to move if they have to. And if you have a truss that's going to sit over a wall, like you have one that's going to sit over this wall here, let's just kind of shoot out here. you have one that's going to sit, this one here is going to sit over here, then this one's going to have to be a 1x4. So make sure that you lay out the roof trusses and you understand what you're dealing with when you're laying out the wall framing or when you're building the walls, so that you don't get a truss that's going to be sitting on top of a wall, and you'll have to remove the framing plates and replace them with a 1x. So I hope that makes sense. Our lookouts, you can see where we had our notches here, and then these are going to support the gable end fascia board. There's our fascia board. And I kind of want to point out here, I know a lot of people, you see this, where you're like, why is the fascia board down here? But this is so that the plywood, when it runs down at an angle, will meet the end here. If we were to have the fascia board come up to the edge here, then our plywood wouldn't work out well. So make a note of that. If you are an amateur builder and you're trying to figure this stuff out, this is another important thing, installing your fascia board correctly. And a lot of times you're going to see it. When you go to install this board here and then you install this one, you'd probably end up seeing it. So our fascia board, I think we have a 12-inch overhang here and a 24-inch overhang here. So that would be from the face of studs, the front of the wall, to the outside, farthest outside measurement on the fascia board. All of our backing in here, like I was saying, for the ceiling, 24-inch on center trusses. Now I do need to point out that if you're going to put a heating and air conditioning unit in the attic, you're probably going to need a 30-inch bay. You're going to need to space one of these bays 30 inches, and that's 30 inches in the clear. And again, you need to check with your local building authorities, building department, to verify that. But sometimes they need a 30 by 30 inch opening to get all of the equipment up there. So keep that in mind also. There it is. We've sheeted everything. And some engineers are going to call out on the plans where they don't want a piece of roof sheathing to be less than 24 inches. If that's the case, you're going to have to make these pieces a little wider. And with that in mind, we are almost done with the video. I just wanted to bring you to the point I mentioned earlier about the plywood coming down at a straight line to intersect with this point where we had the gap there. And that now brings us to the end of the video. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment area. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Whether you like the video or not, just hit the thumbs up button.